right, we are live. I am here with the great Dana DeLorenzo. How you doing, Dana?
I'm good, Justin. How are you?
I can't complain. So I know I had some Evil Dead in my intro there, but there's no Evil Dead from the show, so there's no clips of you in my intro. So I'm just
I'm
letting you know
out of
ahead of
here.
time,
See
so
you.
you can't give
See you
me
never.
shit later. Yeah, exactly. There is a fake trailer that I made actually that you are in a clip on. I
What's the
think I
purpose
tagged
of
you
a
in it a
fake
while back.
trailer?
It's like a mashup that I make these trailers. It's that one in particular is like Sex and the City mixed with Evil Dead, basically.
I gotta see it.
And
I
yeah,
love it.
I'll send it to you afterwards, and you could check that out because it's
That's great.
absolutely insane. But
I
it's
love
it's a
it.
lot of fun making this.
Do
So
you, do you do
welcome.
the do you do the theme song of Sex and the City? Dun 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 dun, and then it's like Bruce
I
Campbell, like
I No,
good night.
you gotta
All right,
see it
I gotta
because
see it.
I don't think there's a way to describe it except for it just gets more and more insane, like with guest appearances that would never happen, and like bands, musical performances that like are just
I'm
real
here for
obscure. Yeah, it's great. Just I'll send it to you. You got to check it out. But
it. Okay, great.
so yeah, so obviously Ash versus Evil Dead was the big break for you, but you started doing things like radio commercials and working on the radio pretty early, right?
Well, yes, technically. But my dad is a small business owner. He owns a men's clothing store. It's been in the family since my grandfather opened it in the 40s. Because back in the day, men didn't wear jeans; only farmers wore jeans. You wore a suit every single
Yeah.
day, so there was a need for it. But anyway, so I was about. I don't remember, but what I'm told, they have a cassette of it somewhere, a recording of it. I was about two and a half. I was first born. Not that it matters in an Italian family because my brother is the prodigal son, as you know, being Italian. Anyway, therapy
Yep.
later. So yeah, it was a commercial, a radio commercial for Father's Day that my dad wrote because my dad's actually very creative and should have been a performer of some kind. Anyway, so I
Okay.
obviously couldn't read at 2, so they apparently had me go into the studio and just I would memorize it, like they would say it all to me and I memorized the 30-second spot, and all I know is that because my mom used to say it to me sometimes, like if I said anything was cute as an adult,
Hmm.
she would use the tagline that my dad wrote in that commercial that 2-year-old Dana said, which was like, "Your daddy's gonna look so cute." I don't know. That means nothing to anybody else, but that's for you, Mom. Okay. But yeah, but I
That's
did end
awesome.
up, but weirdly, so yeah, I again, it wasn't like I got hired for that. It was just local commercial in
You never
Ohio.
know. Maybe someone did see it. Maybe
Well, it
that's
was
the
the
secret
radio,
reason.
so they
Hear it.
saw it. They saw it with their ears.
They heard it. They heard it. Yeah,
Um,
we course
but
corrected.
no. If they did see it, I didn't get any work from it. I was not
Yeah.
working at 2. But uh, weirdly, though, not weirdly, but coincidentally, my first, I'd say, like big job or break, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, just foray into the business where I'm getting, paid on a professional level, was on the radio. I was in Chicago, was when I was living in Chicago, and I had just gotten the job, a real job, quote unquote. My parents wanted me to. I just graduated college with a, advertising, marketing, communications degree, and was working at House of Blues as the marketing coordinator in Chicago. Long story short, I was doing a Tony and Tina's wedding at the time, and a guy there was booking actors to do this nationally syndicated radio show to get people to call in, like you'd go and improvise as a fake guest. And anyway,
Okay.
the host really liked my performance over the phone and was like, "We're looking for a female sidekick." So I ended up getting that job where I was an on-air personality and a producer for a nationally syndicated radio show. So that was pretty wild, going back to my roots, I suppose.
Oh yeah. Well, so it sounds like you always wanted to be an entertainer of some kind.
That's exactly, and you
Like,
you
always
used,
had.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm going to say it again. I know we said it before.
I know.
You asked the chat. I'm sure it's my internet and my shitty connection, but I feel
Yeah,
like
it happens on StreamYard a
I'm
lot.
okay because I really don't mean to talk over you. I just feel like
No
I'm
problem.
hearing you as I'm starting talking, and then I'm like,
I know it happens on my end.
delay.
So
I just don't want to talk over you.
no
I
problem.
talk enough, and it's really. I don't want to look like
I
rude.
do
So
too.
I'm just calling it out that like there is some sort of delay on my end because I don't mean to talk over you. That's so rude on my part. But I do that in real life anyway. So this is me trying to score points, blame the technology.
Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing. So, but yeah, entertainer.
You did use the word entertainer, which is so funny because I used to get so mad at my parents when they would say, like, they would say that to me, like, you're really not, you've always been more of an entertainer. And I'm like, I'm an actor. And they're like, okay, but you're really more of an entertainer. And in the business, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I honestly feel like that has, I don't know why I think that has just not a negative connotation, but like, I'm an actor, It has just I don't know, it has more weight to it, or maybe I just respect the craft more. But I've started to come around to the fact that like, I didn't really, it wasn't from an innate, when I was a kid, like 2-year-old, 3-year-old, it was never about, I want to be in TV and movies. It was always, I was always drawn to just the performance, to wanting to entertain, singing, dancing, acting. It was never like, I want to go and do Mammoth plays, but it sort of evolved into that because, it just how it is, how the business is. But yeah, I think, I really have now come to a point in my life and career where I'm like, all those things that I thought like, oh no, I wouldn't want to do that. I really like I just love a live audience, to be honest. I love any type of performance. Like I even think like this is, even though you can't see people, like this is in its own way a performance, but I don't think there's any greater feeling than being on a stage, singing with a live band or orchestra, to be honest, and entertain people. But yeah, but I love it all. But I think that's really what makes me, what's the word? Like that's what brings my vibration or energy the highest, is when there's a live audience.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I'm a musician. I've been playing since I'm 11 years old or so, and I can agree on that aspect. Just creating in any way.
Yeah. What do you play?
The greatest feeling ever. Guitar is my primary instrument, but I play a little bit of everything, basically bass, keyboards, mandolin, basically anything that I was able to pick up over the years.
Wow. That's that, I find that so, I have so much respect for musicians, and I mean, I grew up playing piano, but I was terrible at it. But that's so, I love when musicians dabble in other instruments.
It's like a puzzle to figure out. It's like just like another puzzle to, I like solving puzzles. I like figuring things out. So it's like just another thing that keeps your brain going and working.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is something that I thought of that I completely forgot that I saw you in before the Ash versus Evil Dead, because I'm pretty sure the Harold and Kumar Christmas movie, was that before?
All 8 seconds of my part in that? Yes, it was.
Yes, because I knew I saw you before when Ash vs. Evil Dead started, and then years afterwards, I resaw that movie, the Christmas Harold and Kumar, for some reason, because I didn't care for that movie that much. But I remembered your character. It wasn't with like Neil Patrick Harris. He was smoking crack or something like that in the movie.
It was actually with Harold and Kumar.
Okay.
And shockingly, all I do is say fuck.
I would have never guessed that was your part
in my life. But I was I was Becca the PA, and I was like this. It was the part of the movie where they're doing the Christmas show, and Neil Patrick Harris is Santa or in the Santa pants, and then I go out. They're having this. Harold and Kumar are having this heart to heart in an alley, and I just bust through the door, and I'm like, "What the fuck? You're supposed to be on stage 5 minutes ago!" And I basically just grab them and go down a hallway and scream at them the whole time, go in the costumes, and then throw them on stage.
That's right. I remember that. Yep.
And fun fact, not so fun for me. It was my first, I was living in Chicago at the time, and I auditioned for like a one-line character, and then they ended up giving me this part, which had, 7 lines. It was so exciting. I got my SAG card from that. It was very exciting. So I had never done a major motion picture. Actually, I still haven't done another major motion. No, well, indies, but anyway. And so all of a sudden, and we're shooting overnight, meaning it's like 2 a.m. And in Detroit, I think, or Milwaukee, anyway. And I'm all excited, and I'm there with the 2 stars, and we have to do the rehearsal, and it's for the camera, right? Because you got to practice your blocking, what you're going to do with the camera. So, okay, and I'm going, and all I have to do is, in my first scene that we shot was be holding on to them and shove them into this, like walk with them and then shove them into this room.
Yeah.
And so I do it the first time, and then the director was like, but really, like, shove them. It's a funny image because you're so much smaller than them. And I was like, okay, I just don't want to hurt anybody. He's like, and they were like, we can handle it. Yeah. Well, what happens then again? The camera wasn't even rolling. Second rehearsal, and I'm like, okay, really shove them. And then my Italian slap hands come out, and I throw them in the room, and I shoved. I don't know where my strength came, but I shoved Cal Penn so hard that he lost his balance, and I shoved him basically into the metal door frame, and and I cut his elbow. And they had to stop production. I wasn't even on camera yet, and I already injured the fucking star. Yeah. That, by the way, that pretty much sums up. That is a perfect piece of the pie of my life, of exactly how everything turns out. Something fluky always happens, and it's always my fault. But
it seems like it works out well for you because
though? It's not really. You really shouldn't. I think on the rules of being on a set, not injuring the
would be up there.
It's probably and when it's not even a stunt. It's not like
it's just you weren't even on the camera yet, like you said.
Oh my god! And anyway, but yeah, I always think of that because I remember I was sweating so much, makeup had to keep coming up because I was so just why? That's the worst thing I could do on the first day of shooting. Anyway, but he was really cool about it, so that was okay.
That of. I mean, he might.
Right. But all that matters was that he was
Dana. Fucked my elbow up. How dare she?
I probably did. Cal, if you're watching.
Yeah, he ain't watching anytime soon. So were you always a horror fan? Growing up?
Yeah, I honestly was from a very young age for a couple of reasons. One, the Goosebumps series, I'm pretty sure they were new when I was a kid.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I watched them too. I've read the books. I had all the original 60-something books and the show too.
You have all 60 of them?
Not anymore. I did back then, when they were coming out. Scholastic, right? Scholastic at the book fairs they would have. Because I'm 36 in New York, and the Scholastic book fairs they would have in elementary school back then. They used to have the Goosebumps all the time. But that's one way I started also.
That's fantastic. So yeah, I that, I mean, and I vividly remember, I think it was like the first, because I was in like what, I don't know, third grade, second grade, fourth grade, somewhere around there. And so you really are just learning or have just started to learn to read. And so I thought it was cool that I could read a full chapter book. I think it was one of my first chapter books. And I just remember vividly, like the Haunted Mask. And I think that was one, right? I just remember
absolutely the Haunted Mask.
I thought it was so, I just loved like the page turning aspect of it, where like I didn't want to put the book down. It was so scary. So I really, that was, I would say, like that, and at the time on Nickelodeon, on like the TGI Fridays, I think it was, that they had a show called Are You Afraid of the Dark?
You're Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, I knew you were going to say
and
that. Great show.
Man, I still remember that logo and everything. That was, anyway, so I'd watched, I loved, thank you, you too, bitch.
Yes, you too, bitch, says you.
Sorry, that was just, oh God, are things going to start coming up and then I'm going to be like ADD?
Yeah, probably, because that happens to me too. So I control it, and I click it, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so I would say those were around the same time, and then got into like actually then my first paying gig. I don't want to go down. Sorry, I told you I never end a sentence. I just keep talking because I relive it every time in my memory. Like I don't know how to just like answer a question.
I'm the same way. So I understand.
No, you're not.
When I do, watch one of my reviews after this, and then see me talk about a movie for one.
Yeah, but that's different.
For 45 minutes on end, because I don't know how to stop going on tangents and shit and talking about random things. Like,
that's different because it's just you.
Yeah,
there's a two-way conversation here, and I'm just like,
well, maybe it's because I'm trying not to do that right now. Because I don't want to do that. I'm trying like very hard. Trust me, it's there. It's that thing.
But then I got sort of into horror comedy because my brother and I got our first paying gig at like 10 and 6. I don't even know how my dad came up with the idea. It wasn't for this gig. It was to get on Jay Leno, or I don't know. He was doing a Talented for Kids. But my dad transcribed from a 45 record the classic Who's on First sketch by Abbott and Costello.
It's the greatest skit ever.
He did it on a typewriter. Like my dad is low-key genius. But so my brother was too young to read. He was 6, and I think I was like 10. But so it was really good. And we ended up not getting on Jay Leno, but we got like this paying gig at this like Italian mafioso place called Stetson's Steakhouse. And it was an all adult variety show they were doing on Friday and Saturday nights in the back of their club. But then they had like these 2 kids that would come with their family. And I think we got paid in like steak dinners, which as a kid, it's like, I don't want that. My parents probably enjoyed it. Anyway, but so in order for my dad to kind of give us a feel for Abbott and Costello, my brother was Abbott because he's the young one, so we got to be the funny guy. But I mean, he was Costello, I was Abbott, and during the time, this was also during like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. So my dad rented the only thing I think that they had like on video that would appeal to us was Abbott and Costello, their horror comedy series. So do you know those? The Abbott and Costello.
Meet Frankenstein.
Dracula.
That's the best one. Is Meet Frankenstein.
That's the best one. That's the one that stands out to me because that's the first one my dad showed us. So I also, I mentioned that only because then I got into the horror comedy, but then that obviously served me later with Ash vs. Evil Dead. But then I was really getting into all the like horror movies at the time. And I think my parents then, Italian Catholic, showed me The Exorcist. First we did Night of the Living Dead, and then we watched The Exorcist. And that was a turning point for me in so many ways of like being like a true blue horror fan, because I was, first of all, it's a phenomenal movie, obviously. Second of all, Italian Catholic, so it lands with me. Like everyone, I'm sure you're the same. Like our family has so many stories of like crazy Ouija board shit, people who had because it was a possessed house. Like that shit is very real in our world.
I live right by the Amityville house. I mean, the Amityville house is 15 minutes from me.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I tried going there once, and I took like a little video. I didn't know if anyone was living there, so I was just like, I didn't want to get arrested, so I'm like walking, pretending to smoke a cigarette as I'm like filming it behind me. I'd turn around, do the same thing, go the other way. Didn't get arrested, so mission was successful. So
and you didn't die from a ghost, so that's good.
That's even better.
No, a ghost didn't come and like take a cigarette, put it out in your eye.
Nah, exactly.
It's always a good day when a ghost doesn't fuck with you.
But it would have made a good.
It would have been, but
would have made for a nice story.
But but also why The Exorcist was so important to me, and still to this day, why I hold a candle, as they say, for Linda Blair is because but obviously by the age of 12 had wanted, I mean, that I wanted to perform. Like that was, I knew at 3, I was doing that and wanting to. So, but this had been a solid, 9, 10 years of my life that's what I wanted to do and wanted to be an actor. Hi, Claudio Franco. And so
yes, and Selena says she can't wait to see you in Texas.
Is that oh, I bet. Is that Selena? I can sort of tell by the picture. Is that, wait, real quick, Selena, is this my Selena, the Selena who drew me and Amy Winehouse, my VIP PV? If it's not, I'm still as excited to meet you in Texas. Yes. Oh God, I shouldn't have probably said that because now she's like, no, that's not me. But
it's like, who's this? Oh, the Selena Dana that you're talking about.
I know this because she's like, Selena's my VIP PV, my very important, powerful vagina, which is the reference to the show.
Okay, that makes
but
sense.
Anyway, she drew me.
Yes, it is. It is her.
Okay, good. I'm so excited to see you in Texas, and that's next weekend, Texas Frightmare.
Yes,
I'm very excited, and I'm reunited with Bruce and Ray. Very exciting. Anyway, so I was blown away that Linda Blair. My parents had told me, they're like, she was your age now when she filmed this, and I could not. I still can't wrap my head around that someone was that phenomenal at the age I was then, but even still now I look at that, like what, and then my parents told me what had happened, like how awful people were to her because they could not separate that she was an actor. Like people, like, I don't know, my parents lived through it when it came out. So like, I don't know how I remember like throw stuff at her, that just really affected me deeply at 12 because I'm like, I don't understand why. I mean, I see sort of where their logic comes from, but like that they're basically punishing her for being too good at a role, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. But anyway, I always wanted to play possessed, and I got to check that box on our show as well. But so I was huge.
Yes, you
huge
did.
Did the Ouija board, did all that stuff, and like also there were some really great. I think there still are, but I'm more partial, and I think this is like this for everybody. I could be wrong, but like the things that you latch onto in your formative years, like I don't know what formative, like 9 to 14, 15. I think those will always be my favorites. Like just because I think there's something about seeing them at that age. But like, I was around when like the Blair Witch Project, when no one knew it was fake, because nowadays everyone's filming that way with phones, but like that was revolutionary. And I wasn't even old enough, I think, to see it at the time, but like we snuck in and they kept that so under wraps that it was like not real. But that was such a brilliant marketing campaign. And anyway, that and like The Craft and all those things, like but then I also
that's a good one too.
Whatnot. So and then so I was always a horror person. That was a 20-minute answer. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just thinking that too, but I would give the same type of
I
answer. 'Cause I mean,
told
I
you to
grew up
cut me
watching.
off. Look, and now my
Well,
Italian.
I was enjoying the conversation. I was enjoying listening. I was
All right,
enjoying
well then
the
you can't
answers.
sit there and give me shit for you can't agree with me.
I didn't give
I
you
know
shit.
I
I
gave
said you should
myself
have
shit
kept
because I
on.
commented.
Exactly. That's exactly what
I
happened.
know I'm
So
very self-aware, but I'm
I'll
self-aware a little too late, like
yeah.
what, 5 seconds too late. It's rough.
My favorite movie is The Thing by Carpenter, but I saw
Nice.
Halloween when I was 6 because on Halloween, and because I was looking through the TV guide, and I saw like that's the name of today. That's Halloween, and then I started watching the movie, and I had no idea like what to
Oh
expect.
my
And then you see Michael Myers, and you see the music. I mean, it's iconic.
oh my God.
And,
I can't believe you
and
were
then
6.
yeah, then from then it was like the Friday series, and then because they would play those on like USA or
Yes.
whatever, whatever other channel, USA and one other one, AMC maybe, and they would play them like back to back, 1 through 8 or whatever it was. So I watched all those. So then it was just like horror from then on. So I'm guessing you were a big fan of Evil Dead and saw the movies before going for the role on the show.
Funny enough, the only one I had seen was Army of Darkness, and I saw
Okay.
it in high school. My 2 best friends in high school were a year and 2 older than me, and they were 2 guys, Dan and Dave. And this was also the time still when Blockbuster was around, which God, people are never going to realize like the joy
I know,
and
right?
pain of you're going for a specific movie and it's new and it's rented out. And so then, but like you browse around at the covers and you're like, oh, and I don't know. That was, I know that was such a special time. But anyway,
That was
so
the best, was the covers. Picking,
I
like,
agree.
knowing what you want to watch just by looking at the cover, and then even if you couldn't get it that time, having it in a mental checklist of saying like, all right, that cover looks fucking awesome. I'm getting that
Right.
movie the next time we're here at Blockbuster. That's how it would go every week.
Right. But then but what I also find was special, it's just how I saw Army of Darkness, was when you go in for the top 3 movies you want and they're all gone. Someone like kept them over time. So but now you're there. I know, right? But now you're there and it's a Friday night and especially like I didn't have a car. I think it was like I was like 14, 15. And so like, what are you going to do now? Like, this is what was going to be our plan. We're going to come get this movie at Blockbuster. So it forces you then like, well, okay, let's just rent something else. And so you end up discovering things that you didn't even plan to go see. So case in point, Army of Darkness. I think one of my friends, I think Dan had seen it and he's like, oh yeah, this is pretty funny. And I was like, it looks stupid. And of course, like I didn't really get it. Like it was definitely a guy's movie for them at the time. I felt like, so I was like, I just didn't get it. And then in college, someone had showed some guy I was dating. We wanted to watch Bubba Hotep, and we watched Bubba Hotep. I was like, oh, it's that Army of Darkness guy, Bruce. And so then I said, he was like, oh yeah, we got to watch. He's like, I love Army of Darkness. And I was like, I didn't really like it. He's like, you got to watch it again now. Cause now you'll get a little bit more, you're older. And I fucking loved it. I loved it. So then I think I saw Evil Dead 2 at some point. Hadn't seen Evil Dead 1 until the night before my screen test when I was like, because I thought I knew the franchise at this point, right? And I was a fan of it. Oh man, I was not prepared for how fucking terrifying the first movie is.
That first one was, right?
Okay, but also I find the most terrifying, like truly the shit that stays with you, or stays with me, I should say, is when evil personified in any way is maniacal and enjoys it. Like, jump scares are cheap. I don't like them, but I like what terrifies me is like the evil psychology, right?
Yeah.
And so in Evil Dead, the first one, when Betsy giggles. Oh my God. And she does, whenever I see
Oh
her,
yeah.
she start doing the giggle. And
Sounds like a doll clown almost. Yeah, it's terrifying. That
it
stuck with
really
me
gives,
since I
I
first saw it.
hate it. Like, I, which is funny because I was like, man, I was so much cooler as a kid with horror because I feel like I could handle it. I don't know. I also
Yeah.
think things get scarier as you get older because you realize like there are people
Oh,
in the
for
world
sure.
that actually like to be evil. But
Yeah.
dude, that was so, in my world, I feel like they are total, like, I know it's definitely the most horror, but like coming from Army of Darkness and really being a fan of that the most, not
Yeah.
prepared for how terrifying the first one is. It's so good.
Well,
And
did
they were
you see
20
the
years old.
remake then from 2013? Did you see the remake?
Oh, I did see the remake with Mia.
With, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
yeah,
always
yeah, yeah.
forget the
Jane
actress's
Levy.
name. I
I
know
did.
it's Mia, and it's yes, Jane Levy.
Yeah, they're great. They're all the remakes, and then the one again, the Lee Cronin one. With the Evil Dead Rise.
From
I mean,
years,
yeah,
Evil Dead
those are
Rise. That was
more in the
fun.
first. Yeah, those are the cheese grater. Those are in the definitely more in that vein of the first one. But yeah, I think I'll
Yeah,
always hold a candle, not to use that expression again, but like Army of Darkness. But I also have a penchant. I also really love horror comedy. So
yeah,
that
it
to me,
makes sense.
I love Bruce in that so much. I love them all, but like that, I just love it.
Yeah, no, it's and a lot of people, I do know some people who don't care for Army because it doesn't have a lot of blood or gore and stuff, but like it's a different type of movie, and it was Raimi's first studio film. Like, Evil
Right.
Dead and Evil Dead 2 were, independent, low budget. The situations and scenarios they were filming in, and they had to live there. Like, this was Army of Darkness was like his big studio movie. So I mean, it makes sense that they had a lot more stuff that they had to focus on, and I just think the horror comedy is brilliant in that. But
I do too.
Evil
You know,
Dead 2 is also that's my favorite in the franchise. But
that
I
tends
think
to be, I talk to a lot of fans about it and I always ask, and I
yeah.
will say in my unofficial poll that Evil Dead 2 tends to be the most the
The
most
popular one.
common response of people's favorites.
Yeah, I can definitely see that because I see it on most people's lists, like top even horror films of all time, or definitely horror comedies for sure. So,
Yeah.
all right, so you saw Army of Darkness, and that was the one that you were most familiar with. And then, what led to you going in and getting going for the role of Kelly in Ash vs. Evil Dead? Had the whole thing start?
I really wanted to come up with a funny answer, like I answered an ad on Craigslist, but that's not even funny. I was grinding it out here in LA. I had some mild success. I was doing like commercials, and I was on. A lot of people recognize me from the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. I played Beth, the CBS executive, for just a short while, like a couple months. But
That's right, yeah.
So, but it, and I'd gotten a couple things here and there, and anyway, I was working at a bar here trying to, make ends meet and going to auditions during the day. And this audition came through the night before, and I was working till close that night. This is like, I can't get into this whole story, but
Of course, condense in any way you can.
But I've told it enough. You would think I'd be better at editing it, and now it's just like I just keep telling more things about it. It was just one of these, like, there's an expression I'd heard in this documentary about acting, and I think my Evil Dead audition experience is exactly an example of that. And it's a line and I can't remember who said it in this documentary, but this actor had said, "The parts you're meant to get, you won't be able to escape. And the parts you're not meant to get, no matter how good of your audition, no matter how talented or how prepared you are, whatever, you're not going to get it." I found myself, I kept repeating to myself, like, the parts you're meant to get, you won't be able to escape. And this is a perfect example because nothing else happened. I mean, I've been doing this since Chicago. So I've been doing this for professionally with an agent for, I don't know. I can't do math. 15, 17 years. And this, like the audition came in, it was 9 pages dialogue. I had see all of these things that like I don't want to bore you with, but they play into it of like I lived in the Valley and the audition was at like fucking 10 a.m. in Santa Monica, which if you live in LA, you know that is an hour and a half commute, especially at the worst time, which was before 10 a.m. And then I was working till 2. So somehow I have to learn 10, like again, I was doing this a lot, like it wasn't unusual, but on this particular day, it was a lot going on because the next day was my mom's first round of chemo, and it was like all this crazy shit was happening. And I was just like, I know I'm not going to get this part. And this is fucking annoying that now, like, I'm going to just go in there and like look bad in front of this casting director because I don't even have enough time to learn all these lines because my managers didn't send it. Blah, 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 blah. And so then but some miracle happened. And like, a guy ended up covering for me. So I got to go home at like midnight instead of 2. And then I like read the lines a few times, crashed, woke up 4 hours later, which I need 8 hours, hair and makeup, go dreading the car. And I'm listening to my lines in the car. I've yet to ever be able to do this again, by the way. Somehow, again, parts you're meant to get, you won't be able to escape. I memorize the lines. I get there and my managers didn't let me know that they had changed the time to like 6 hours later. And so and then I was like, and then I don't have time to go home because now I'm on the west side. Oh, it was a whole fucking thing. So then I go to the beach. I call to talk to my mom. How was your chemo appointment? I'm now sobbing. All my hair and makeup I had done was now ruined. And so I'm just like at this moment, because all I was focusing on was my mom, that like nothing else mattered. Right. So I go in and I don't know, you can't manufacture, like everyone's talked about. I'm sure a lot of people say this, like, you can't care about an audition too much. You can't want it too much because that desperation comes through. And this was one of those times where I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just focused on my mom. But you cannot I've tried to remanufacture that of like, I don't want this role. I don't, for everything else that's followed. And you can't, it's just one of those.
See if it replicates itself. Yeah.
And so anyway, blah, blah, blah. Then, again, like usually I've had 15 callbacks for a 30-second commercial where I didn't even have any lines. This was audition. The very next week, callback. I was in Ohio for my mom's next chemo treatment. The casting director, thanks again, Lauren Gray, was like, they told her the situation. She's like, I'll have a special appointment if she can fly back tomorrow and get in. No one has ever done that for me ever. That was another crazy thing that happened. And then I go into the audition or that callback with her again. A week later, I'm getting a call from my team. So you're going to screen test with Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi. And I was like, what the fuck? They didn't. And then that's when I found out it's shot in New Zealand. I'm like, I can't go to New Zealand. My mom is sick. And they're like, and my mom was like, look, if this job actually works out, because how many near misses had I had? A lot, or like close calls, whatever, where it was always between me and the name. She's like, if you actually book this day, you're fucking going. And I booked, like, it was so crazy how fast it happened. And I didn't even they had me skip the network test, which is when you have to perform it for like the network. This was just with Sam and Bruce and the producer. And like, I mean, I'm still to this day shocked that they hired me. Like, I am grateful every single day, because every single day I'm like, I honest to God, every single day, show's been over since 2018. Every single day I'm like, I can't believe they picked me. Like, I can't. And it was like a dream job, man. And every single day, it really was. It was all the things. It checked off every single box. So like, if it's the only thing I ever get to do on that scale, I will die happy. I hope it's not, but if it is, like, I just, and like the best part, I will always be grateful for it, for the experience I had on it, for all of it, shooting in New Zealand, getting over with Bruce and Lucy and Lee Majors. But also, I mean, this is not bullshit. I was told that the fans, the horror fans, are passionate. But
Yeah.
man, I had no idea how fucking phenomenal this like the fan base is, and I just feel that's what I'm most grateful for.
That's
Is
true.
like I honestly feel like the fans have kept me going in a way, have kept the show alive for me, have kept Kelly alive for me. And like that's why I love doing comic or conventions and comic cons, but like I'm the person who the fans they're like they'll line up to meet me and get an autograph, and by the end of the conversation they're like, okay, Dana, we have to go, we're so sorry, but we have a photo op, so we're gonna go. Like they're the ones pulling away from me, like so just like thank you. Like I just like can't give fans enough
great.
back because they're so
It's
so thank
because you're fucking talented, man. You're talented and you deserve the role. I mean, that's why you got it. And I'm sure you'll get another one just as big, if not bigger, because you deserve that too. And we got love in the chat. Yeah, you got love in the chat.
Thank you,
It's
YouTube.
awesome.
Bitch.
Who's this? Claudio again.
Oh,
awesome. Met her last year. This person met you last year. Full of energy. Nah, she doesn't have too much energy.
You know what? It's so funny. People never believe me.
Selena, here's your Selena.
Selena. Thank you, Selena. Me
yes.
too.
About
I guess I when I get excited or I'm passionate about something, then I have a lot of energy. All my friends and family would be the first to tell you when people say that at cons all the time. What they don't see is that then I'm passing out from exhaustion because it does take, it takes a lot out of you. But in the moment, I don't realize it because I'm just feeding off this energy because it's like a mutual love fest. You know what I mean? And whenever I talk about something that I get excited, I like talking to you. I love talking about this shit. So I don't know. Also, I don't know. I think coffee calms me down. Like I'm the person that can drink coffee and go to sleep. So maybe I didn't have enough coffee today and I need more to calm down. So I'm going to keep drinking my coffee.
There you go. That might be what it is. I actually, coffee does the same thing too. It wakes me up in the morning, but then it also, I can have coffee and go right to bed later at night.
Well, that's why we have
it decides what it wants to do.
It's ingrained in our DNA. Like that's why there's affogato, which is, the espresso over the ice cream. People eat that. It doesn't also, I think, did you start drinking? Sorry, I'm just curious if this is an Italian thing or just my crazy family. Did for me, it was my grandma, but did you start drinking coffee? Not even regularly, but did you have it at a young age by chance?
Yeah, probably 8, 7, 8. Yeah, around then. Yeah.
My grandma put so much cream. My parents wouldn't. But when I stay with my grandma, and she'd always have it, and she put cream and sugar, and I dipped my toast in it. I always loved the flavor.
It was my great aunt. My great aunt would be the one to do.
Yeah, it's what is it with these ladies? I love it. I love it.
There is Sicilian and Nobly Don. Because my grandfather's Nobly Don and my grandmother was was Sicilian.
My grandmother was Sicilian. I mean, I got Sicilian and then Southern Italian, Calabria, and all that. But it must be a Sicilian thing.
Yeah, maybe it might be. Have you ever been to Italy?
I went for the first time finally. When was that? Someday I'll post the pictures and videos. 2 years ago, I didn't go. It wasn't a heritage tour. So I do want to do that. I want to go to Sicily. Yeah. And I want to go. I didn't do any of the stuff. I didn't do where my family's from. And also I feel like I need to get more facts on all of that. I want to get the little neighborhoods, but I just did the big ones. I did Venice, Florence. I got to do a day trip to Cinque Terre, which was always on my bucket list. And then
nice.
And then Rome.
I went to Rome 7 days, then Amalfi Coast for 2 days, Venice for 2 days, and then one other. I can't remember the other place that I went for some reason, but that was the one time I went over there. But it's beautiful.
Amalfi, I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, that was like
I
the
my family.
highlight of the trip.
Oh God. What time of year did you go?
What was it, like June? Yeah, like
Oh,
June of
you
like
went when it was
5 years
I
ago.
couldn't have handled it. I was there in
Yeah, it's too hot.
November,
Yeah, I know.
especially
It
places
was
like
hot.
not even the hot or the heat.
Yeah,
The amount of fucking people, like the
yeah. The
Vatican.
Rome was crazy.
And I went in November when it was cold,
Yeah,
and it was. I could not believe like I was getting like anxiety in the I had to like skip out. I like didn't even do the tour of the Vatican. I like, and now in
yeah.
hindsight, now we got a Chicago Italian Pope. I'm so excited about it. Anyway, like I remember just getting so claustrophobic there because there were so many people, and then I thought, what must this place be like, or Venice even, when it's all in June and fucking 100
I know.
degrees,
It's fucking.
and
It's
how many
nuts.
more people? Like you can't even. It's so many people, but
Yeah.
but it's the most beautiful time to go. And if I had a choice and I could just, wipe everybody
Well,
else down,
that's when you can do your heritage tour and go back and go in.
I don't want to be. There's too many people. I don't like it when there's so many people around. You know why?
It depends on the situation.
Because I'll tell you why. This is a see, then I told you my Italian was going to come out talking to you. And now I'm going off on a tangent. Can we all stop? I'm getting very angry. I'm reliving it. This is why I don't like going when there's a million people. Do we need to do photo shoots for an hour, every single person like this? In front of the David. I had 75-year-old grandmas. I took 4 pictures for them, and then they kept going in front. Other people want to take pictures. Everybody is so
no one could live in the moment
now. Even the grandmas.
No one could live in
get
the moment.
Off even the phone. The picture is never going to be as good. PSA, people. Number one, don't be fucking annoying at a concert. When you're looking at the screen, it's right there. When you're looking at when you're at the Vatican, when you're wherever you go, you're at the Eiffel Tower, it's never going to capture it. Get it with your eyes and fine. Take a couple pictures. You don't need to. Oh God. Sorry. All right. Got worked up. People are saying,
and that was a great PSA from the great David DeLorenzo with a nice PSA on technology.
No, I'm going to get so much hate, and I don't care. I'm kind of old fashioned that way. Like I miss the days of not having cameras on the phone. Like just fucking take your picture and get the fuck out. There's other people, and also just take it in. Like I don't know. It makes me sad.
Like, to quote the great George Carlin, I think said it and stuff when there used to be 1 hour photos and stuff. It's a 1 hour photo. You just saw the fucking thing. It's
Berlin is my fucking favorite.
Carlin's my favorite comedian of all time.
I said the side. Yes, I am preaching. I know. Look, I'm sure I'm going to get so much hate. But you know what? It's my soapbox, and I'm trying to do it. It's not even just about, it's really not for me as much as it's like, I think I get upset, which is, I don't know why, for the people.
They're good words to live by.
Watching, I mean, I see people who paid all this money to be like floor seats. Meanwhile, I'm, in the nosebleeds, and I'm watching them watch, whatever the Taylor Swift, and people are just looking at their camera screen, and it's like, she's right that you just gave your mortgage. Watch the person. You're never going to capture it all. And anyway, I think I don't, but like, why do I care what other people's experience is? I don't know. But I also do get angry when I'm like, can I just see the statue of David and his ding dong without I mean, he's tall. You could see it plenty, but without photo shoots. When I saw these 75-year-old grandmas, I swear to God, I was there for an hour and a half because I just wanted to like take it in and really study. And I was
study them. Wow,
how they learn TikTok and stuff
like that. No. Oh no, I would have studied them. How is 75? They're using TikTok. Wow.
No, I wasn't studying them. I was studying the statue because I also never knew it was as big as it was. I just was fascinated with but anyway, I was there for a while. And these ladies, I'm telling you, they were our grandmas. They were there. And every photo was the same. I wish, like, this is where I was like, I can't even get mad at Gen Z anymore, or millennials, or anybody. I am a millennial, but like, I'm in it, whatever. But my point is,
near the end,
and like every picture I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm going. This is not what you wanted to talk about. But I just thought it was so.
I'm happy talking about anything. That's how this show goes.
I tried to because they were also front and center. So I was like, I want to help them because clearly they're not getting the pictures they want, because it was a solid 20 minutes. One of them would take one of the other. The other one would take one of the other. And every time they would go, they would and then go back. But it was the same pose it wasn't like they were doing different poses. So then I'm like,
they're trying to get that one specific one and it's not working out for them.
I guess. I don't know. But so then I was like, oh, you know what? They probably want one together. Once they get one together, they'll go and they'll enjoy. Then I go and I take it for them. I take a bunch. And then they were like telling me, because they were Italian, and I speak broken Italian. So they stayed another 30 minutes. I was like, what? I bet you they have a very
help them.
Life. That's why. But like
they must have 50 pictures alone just from
no. I think I took 25 for them.
Oh, okay. They got hundreds. They're in the hundreds.
I was like, then I started thinking, oh God, maybe they have dementia and they both keep.
And they were forgetting that they took the picture.
That wasn't it. I would have forgiven them. Anyway, sorry. Why am I going off on this today? It was not the plan.
I know, but that was definitely worth it because that's a funny story.
Was it though? It was just you just like seeing me riled up.
Yeah, why not? See? I mean, it's good entertainment.
What is my?
I guess I know. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to, we'll end with this awesome question because I know you have a meeting you have to catch in a bit, right?
Let me say, we can go 5 more minutes. Set a timer for 5 minutes. I can do it. I'll squeeze it in. I'll be late for the other one. It's fine. I'll be 2 minutes.
Anyone else who has questions for Dana, just leave it in the chat.
You too, bitch. I don't have an answer. I thank you. That's very sweet. I have plenty of friends and family that would laugh at your question and be like, Dana, awesome. I definitely am not, but I think you are awesome that you are here and that you have been so sweet and kind. I think I will say this, the key to being Dana is being 100% authentic to a fault. What you see is what you get. Who I am is who I am, to a fault. So I'm honest to a fault. I will always say it like it is. And I don't know. It hasn't always worked for me, but I don't know any other way to be than me. So that's what I would say to everybody else. Just you are who you are, improve what you can. I'm still trying to work on ending a sentence when it's not written for me. I'm failing at that after all these years still. Can't be concise to save my life, but I'm still trying. I'm working on it. So I'm always trying to improve, but take it or leave it.
I think that's great. That's great advice because I've had people ask me just like for YouTube, like if you want to start YouTube channels, what to do, and I'd say the same thing. Just be yourself. Do what type of content you like. Be yourself, and just fuck it if people don't like you for some whatever reason. Just be authentic, be yourself, and people aren't going to like you. Like it's not you can't please everybody with anything,
right?
So as long as you just be yourself and just have a good time doing whatever you want to do.
I think that's more the key, because whenever I always have struggled with the lines "be yourself" because I like a lot of times they'll say that even for like acting or whatever. I'm just like I don't know how to play me. You know what I mean? Another way to say it is how you just said it, which is if anyone else struggles with the concept of be yourself, because a lot of people aren't I'm painfully self-aware. Like I said, I'm just on a delayed reaction, but it's actually a curse because then I'm constantly self-analyzing because I'm very self-aware. But some people who
Yeah,
aren't self-aware,
I get it.
you know what I mean? They don't even know who
Then,
they
oh
really
yeah,
are. So you have to
yeah,
figure out
that's
what
true.
you like, what you want. But then also, I think what you said, which is another way of thinking of be yourself, is whether it's a channel, whether it's a conversation, whether it's a job you're applying for, seek out what excites your spirit. Like answer every call that excites your spirit in the sense of,
Basically, yeah.
you know, if you want to do a review show about, I don't know, reading all the Goosebumps books in Long Island, then do it. Don't give a shit. Like I think another thing too is that with social media and everything, there's so much terrible emphasis on the result. It's not about result. Like that's the other thing.
Yeah, it's the journey. It's the journey.
You love it. And I have learned when you're passionate about something and you put in the work, real work for it to get better, to whatever it is that you're doing, roads will open up for you. You'll either meet people who like it, that same thing, whatever it is you're doing. And even if it's not with an audience, like if it's writing, if it's singing, if it's art, whatever it is, you know, you're doing it because you just really love it and you want it and you want to do it for you, no result attached. I think that plus work and consistency always opens doors and is good for the soul, I think. What's my favorite Amy Winehouse song, Selena?
Beautifully said.
You know, yes. I can't pick a favorite. By the way, Selena, I don't want to move them because they'll fall. One of my Selena, one of my other VIP PVs, Brian with the Y. So he made me a Dana DeLorenzo pop, but I had this Amy. Nice. But he got me this Amy with my, anyway, I just want to show you Selena. I don't know if you saw him. My little British stage. And anyway. That's cool. My Sam Raimi sides. I can't pick I'm bad. I can't even pick my favorite food. I'm like, because I'm always like top 5. I'd say
it's hard to pick favorites for anything.
I'm terrible at it. I'd say my favorite, if I had to pick a favorite, my favorite that is her live performance from BBC of the fast version of Know You Now. I gotta know you now. That one. It starts off with the drum, nice. Boom, 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 boom. And when I got to do that with my tribute band back when we had it before she passed, that was just the greatest song to come out to because it's like, boom. Anyway, sorry. Now I'm gonna go off on a musical tangent.
Anyway. Then that'll go on forever because I could talk music anytime too.
I know we got to do another one where we talk music, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I would love to. I would love to hear your stuff sometime, or we'll like sing. You could tinker around.
I'll send you stuff.
For sure. That'd be fun.
But all right, I want to be respectful of your time because I know you got to run for this thing. But thanks so much for coming on, Dana. It's been a blast talking to you.
And thank you, Justin. And I'm sorry I derailed it and we talked about Italy. And
that's fine.
You know what's so funny?
That's more fun. We could talk Evil Dead anytime.
But I love that we didn't talk about the show at all. This is
exactly. It's just a fun combo.
I think this is a first. So I feel like I should crown you with something. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, think about it. Let me know.
Come on, that is kind of fucking hilarious. It's JT's horror discussions.
And it's titled with Dana DeLorenzo, Kelly Maxwell from Ash vs. Evil Dead.
And I went on so many fucking tangents. Sorry, now I'm getting into swearing. Sorry. I went on so many tangents that we didn't even get. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry.
That's fine. I can even ask Nanette real quick. Nan, how many tangents do I go on constantly on a daily basis?
It's your show. You're allowed.
You're given your time to come on the show. So, I mean, it's just, you can make that same argument both ways.
I know, but like, I just imagine if I had tuned into the show because I wanted to hear an actor talk about their show, the time they were on the show, and talk about Bruce Campbell and all that. And then they're like, Put your fucking phones down.
Yeah, you get preached too.
I had fun.
That's all right. Yeah, I did
Hey,
too.
you know what?
That means we'll just have to have you on again soon, and we'll talk just Evil Dead.
You know what? No, I'm totally happy with this. I just think it's hilarious. I hope you're happy with it.
No.
I enjoyed
absolutely.
talking with you, Justin.
Thank you.
JT.
And, yeah, either way, it don't matter. So, thank you for your time, Dana. He says, thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Thanks, everyone who watched, everyone in the future who watches the replay. And I'm going to end this, but just hang up for a second. I'll thank you again. All right, guys.